This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Human error. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
All right. All right. Running through walls, baby. Come on. Welcome. Welcome. Good morning. Friday. Gotta love it. Buenos dias. Welcome back. Welcome. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Buenos dias, Hustle Juice. Good morning. Thank you, Rosemary. Good morning, Rosemary. Play that intro again. I think I'm going to find a new song every single day. That's going to be my goal. I do like that one, though. I will say. That one gets me going. Morning, guys. Why did the NASDAQ drop after hours? Hey, man, just same levels, my friend. Guys, same levels. NASDAQ, same high, right? Just a nice little rejection there. We talked about this yesterday, and we have to continue to pay attention to it. We are extended, right? We're definitely extended. So, very happy with, we got to stay in tune with that. And that was a big reason why I took all of my positions off overnight. I just felt like it was a good time to relieve my portfolio and just make sure I come into Friday with a lot of cash. full cash, right? No positions open. So a good day to just get after it on this Friday and see where the market wants to go. Stay open to any direction, make some money, and get the hell out of here. All right. That was sort of my mindset yesterday into close, and I'm happy I did so. A little bit of downside ES and Q early morning, but still some very big levels to be watching, right? Still some very big levels to be watching. How's the Porsche? It's great, Jacob. It's you can't. There's really no better car in my eyes. Is that a gaming PC? Yeah, gaming PC. Yep. I play my games from now once in a while. I haven't been playing as much lately as I was maybe last year, but definitely like to. It's a good sort of escape from the stress and the nonstop of trading. I like it. It's definitely a good little escape for me. Morning piff. Storm's gone. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice out today, surprisingly. But I think still some rain in the forecast here in Florida. Man, I don't know if you guys saw some videos of Miami. Miami's funny, man. Miami is it just gets flooded. Flooded. I would not be surprised to see that place underwater someday. Do I follow Obsessed Garage? Yeah, I watch Obsessed Garage. His videos are a little bit too boring for me. I don't like to just watch someone wash a car, but I do like watching his garage builds. I watch Obsessed Garage. I watch TJ Hunt. I watch Adam LZ, Dustin Williams. Little bit of Tavares. One that's rebuilding the P1. So I'm definitely, I watch a lot of car stuff. Big car guy, guys. Big car guy. Morning, guys. The NQ, so guys, I just use the /NQ on TOS. So the /NQ on TOS is a continuous contract. So until that changes, I will be on the June contracts. So until that contract changes on TOS, I will be trading on the June contracts. I know if you guys are on TradingView, it has already shifted. So if you want to be in tune with the levels that I have on, you got to be on that June contract. I'm not going to be adjusting until TOS adjusts. TOS will automatically adjust it. Once they do, we'll take a look and have to, if we do any changes, we will. But it's a continuous contract, and that is what I will be staying on. If you're on TradingView, then you just got to go to the June contract. Go to the drop down and make sure you're on the June. The /NQ exclamation point on TradingView, /NQ1 exclamation point, that is your continuous contract on TradingView, which has already changed, I believe. That's why some of the levels are a little bit different. But I still think there's enough volume in the June contract. That's what TOS is still on, so yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for being here. Let's go ahead and get started. It's Friday. It's a beautiful Friday. Let's stay open to everything today. We saw a little bit of drama yesterday, a little bit of signs of maybe some breakdowns. We did reclaim some major levels. Today, we saw a little bit of downside in the pre-market, and we are reclaiming some levels again. So we have to still stay in tune with the levels down below, the pullback levels that could be strong. SMCI yesterday, yeah, huge move, B-Fish, what a move. But SMCI, we got to be careful, right? It's still definitely sort of a fader, right? It hit a huge level up at 870, which is a monster level. We'll talk about that one today. And so, yeah. All right. Welcome back. Press that like button if you guys could. Get some early likes. We got 1,000 people here, 300 likes. That means we have only 30% of the people in the live stream pressing the like button. That is not good. Let's pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Here we go. Economic calendar to start. today we have consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock. So we could be a little bit aware of that. 10 o'clock on Friday. The last time we have a consumer sentiment on Friday, there was a pretty big move. I don't know if you guys, I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. Might have been 2. I'm not sure exactly how long ago that was, but I do remember a pretty decent Friday move off this consumer sentiment. So let's be careful of that at 10 o'clock today. Maybe you wait 30 minutes for a little bit of action to come in after that consumer sentiment. Just be aware of that. Yesterday, we had Adobe earnings. We can go over that later in the stream. Big pop on the Adobe earnings. We'll go over that in a little bit. All right. Let's jump right into the NASDAQ futures. Let's get this started. So yesterday, we pulled back. We had some aggressive pullbacks. We pulled back to this 19,500 level right here. This little intraday hold that came in on NASDAQ on Wednesday after CPI. We had a pop to the upside and a pretty decent sort of channel maintain until FOMC, right? So we stayed within 19.5 and 19.540 before that FOMC event on Wednesday. On FOMC, we had a little bit of a drop down towards that 19.450, and we sort of just maintained that 19.450. So it looks like yesterday we found a low right here at 19.500, all right? We had a very clear yesterday low at 19.500, and as of right now, that is the low that is holding on the NASDAQ future. So, right, you're seeing a little bit of weakness this morning, but to be quite honest, guys, you can't short too aggressively today into that 19.5, right? We got to be careful shorting into that 19.5 today. There could be a little bit too, bears could get a little too horned up today into that 19.5. That could actually be where this market holds up, all right? So we want to see, in my opinion, if you want to get some short action today, I think you're going to want to see the NASDAQ under 19.5. Under 19.5 today, I think you will get your drop down towards that FOMC low. If you break that FOMC low, you drop towards your CPI low. So I would make sure you have these levels labeled as what they are because they're important, right? The 19.450, which you could drop down a little bit more if you want. Let's go down to that CPI day over here. This is on Wednesday, right? So here's Wednesday. And on Wednesday, we had a very clear low come in around that 19.450 right here, this FOMC low. It sort of held that 19.450 level. A couple wicks down below, right? A couple wicks down towards that 440, 430 area. But really, if you look at the body of these candles, they all closed above 19.450. So we need to be careful there, right? Today, if we go to today's price action in the pre-market, let's go ahead and zoom over. All right, we can see right here in the pre-market today, look at this 19,500 level. I'm sorry, 19,450. That was right here yesterday. So we had that. I'm sorry, 19,4. I'm all over the place. We haven't tested the 19,450 yet. That's that FOMC low right here. I'm talking about 19.5 from yesterday. So 19,450. We have that FOMC low. We haven't tested it yet. Let's be aware of that. Let me go into day over day. Day over day, 19,500 is the level that I was trying to refer to. Sorry about that. The 19,500 is right here. You see this yesterday? This low that came in. All right, we had that drop. We had that pop. And we popped off 19.5. All right here. 19.5. So 19,500 is that level that held in the pre-market today. So let's be aware of that, right? Let's be careful shorting into yesterday's lows. If we do get downside today, let's make sure we know, right? If we do see downside in the short term and we're sort of zoomed in on the charts, right? We're saying, oh, look, the market's moving lower. Let's be careful of having too aggressive short entries, right? Or being too aggressively short right into that previous day low at 19.5. So we need to be aware of that, okay? That's very important. 19,500, 19,450, two big levels below. FOMC lows, right? And yesterday's lows right here. Two big levels that the market is still holding above. So big time there, right? Major thing to make sure you realize as you trade today. We also saw right here, if we zoom into our 19,540 level, we saw this was a 19,540 high, right, from Wednesday, right? We see that 19,540 high. That is where we reclaimed and held above yesterday, right here. So you can see right here, 19,540, 19,540. When we dropped it, we moved into the 19.5, and we got back above it. And after getting back above it yesterday, that's where the market pushed back higher. So I'll go to the 2-minute chart. I'll go into yesterday's price action, and we can see what happened at that 540 yesterday. So let's zoom into yesterday right here. And you can see 19,540, we had a hold early morning. We had a hold here. Eventually, we did slip and got to the 500. But look right here. Look what happened around 1 o'clock yesterday after we reclaimed that 540 level, right? Right here. We got back above it, and we held above it, right? So 19,540, 19,500, two levels to be paying attention to today. And if we zoom in over to today's price action right now in the pre-market, we can see sort of dancing there, right? I don't really like how sloppy it is here right now, right? You can see it's under it, it's back above it. It's really not very, there's a few reactions at it here, right? We can see a few reactions, but it's not that clean as of right now. So I don't know if I'm that fond of trading off that 540 today, right? What I actually am tempted to do here, to be quite honest, what I'm tempted to do here is just delete this and watch this larger channel, right? I am tempted just to watch this larger channel here because it's already proven to me that it's a little bit sloppy at that 540 level. So I might just want to trade off of the 500 and, which we'll talk about right now, the 19,590. If we look at this, this is probably a little bit more of a clean trade, right? Maybe shorting the 590 and maybe longing the 500 today might be the right idea. I don't really know, or I'm not that confident in some of this choppy action that's coming in around this 540 level, right? 535, 540. It's not that clean as of right now. You can see right here. It's really not that clean. It's a little bit, right? We'll maybe have to see if this clears up maybe intraday today. We could possibly keep this on our charts, but I don't know if I really like it as much as trading off the 500 and trading off the 590. This is a little bit sloppy in here, but we could keep it on our charts because it definitely is a level that's been respected in the past. So we can see right here that 540, that 536, you can see right there. You can see right there, right? Two respects there. If we go back to the left, we can see, look at all this on Wednesday, right? Wednesday, rejections there, rejections there, rejections there, rejections, 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 and a hold right there. So definitely a level, no doubt about it, definitely a level, but as of right now in the pre-market has been a little bit sloppy in this area. So I like this level a lot. That's definitely a big one, 19.5. I like that a lot. I definitely like the FOMC low, right? That's definitely important. And then the last level I'll talk about here is the level we need to be careful of to the upside, and that is the 590, right? Look at this. 590, Wednesday's highs, 590, 590, 590 rejections, 590 support. And if we do pop back into that level today, this is definitely somewhere to be careful of for rejections again. All right, you can see right there. Yesterday, look at how clean this was yesterday. So yesterday we dropped the 590. We came back up into it, into that pre-market low, and look at how that sort of failed sort of intraday. So the levels that I really like today, there's three of them. There's definitely 590, right? We can see that, 19,590. There's definitely 19.5. That's without a doubt. There's a little bit of an intermediary level here at the 536, 540. I'm not so sure I trust it as much right now, but it is definitely a level there. And then the last one, the FOMC low. If we drop the FOMC low, we're coming down to that CPI low. CPI low is 19,385. Okay? It's going to be an interesting day, right? And what I would really like to see a long off of, if there is any longs today, I think my most confident long, where I would look most confident, would be maybe off that 19,500. If we can get a nice long or maybe a pullback and a hold at this 19,500, that's definitely something that I will be eyeing today at that previous day low. If we do break that previous day low, then I think you're going to see more slippage towards that FOMC low. let's just make sure, again, I'll reiterate this and sort of make sure everyone realizes, once again, we are heavily extended, okay? We have gapped up on CPI. We've sort of maintained. So pullbacks from this point should not be surprising, okay? There should be no, oh my God, I can't believe the market's moving lower. That is not something that should surprise you at this point, right? So I still believe, and this is why I've taken my positions off last night. I still believe that you want to be cautious up here, holding longs, too confidently. You want to stay a scalper up here on the long side, in my opinion. There's definitely the case that you pull back and fill that CPI gap up, right, which is down to 19,275. That is definitely something possible. And that possibility should keep you on your toes, right? It should make you not feel overly confident on the long side. The possibility of us just coming back down to here and filling this gap is definitely a possibility and should make you be cautious of holding longs up in these extended areas. This pullback and possibly hold here is really what you'd want to see for that real confident long, right? I would love to see this pullback at some point to fill that CPI upside. That's definitely something that will happen eventually. We don't know when, but that sort of idea needs to be in your head. You need to be aware of it, okay? Make sure we're aware of that. Are we still in an uptrend? Come on, man. Yes, we're still in an up. I mean, this is still straight up, okay, guys? This is nothing. This little red candle is nothing. So there's still possibility of more upside. There's no doubt about it. We have not broken any type of trend. We are very much extended still. Just a little bit of a market pullback. If we get more of it, it's totally normal. But we do need to still understand where we are on the market and how we are elevated above this CPI gap up, right? We need to just make sure we know that. That's, some things to do when you see something like this. Let's scale down on longs. Let's make sure we take profits. Let's make sure we don't hope too much overnight, right? Let's make sure we protect our risk. Those are all things you want to do when you know that you're trading longs at pretty elevated areas. As of right now, we can see, right? As of right now, we are seeing that reaction at the 536 level, right? So it's just clearing up a little bit, right? It's still very much clearing up, right? See that? See how we're started pushing off that right now as we speak? So this 19,536, 19,540 level is starting to clear up a little bit here. So we do want to watch that, okay? All right. So hopefully that clears that up for you guys. You can see now 19,536, 19,500. We can see holds. The next level to watch to the upside if we do push higher is that 590, that Wednesday high, and some of these previous rejection points. QQQ. All right, so the QQQ is very clear at the Friday low, right? Right here. I'm sorry, not the Friday low, the Thursday low, yesterday low. It's right here. See that? See this? And then you see this hold that came in on Wednesday. So we are seeing a pretty decent hold right now on the NASDAQ at that 474.50 area. 474.40, 474.50. We saw those holds on Wednesday. We saw that hold come in yesterday on Thursday on the pullback. And this morning, we can see that the QQQ is definitely attempting to hold that level. So in my opinion, right, this is going to be sort of your line in the sand today. If you are above this level, I would be careful on the short side, right? Because this is still a Friday low, or I'm sorry, I keep on saying Friday low. This is the Thursday lows, and we are still very much holding it. If we break below this level, then I think you can get your sort of clarity for that downside action, possibly towards that FOMC low, which is right here at that 472.70. Under FOMC low, you have your CPI low at 471.50, okay? But right now, all right, we are seeing a pretty clear hold at that Thursday low, that yesterday low right here at 474.40. We're getting a little bit of upside right now. What's the level we have to watch above? It's right here. It's that Wednesday high. So I would make sure you have this marked out. Wednesday high is 476.50. You can see right here. That's your Wednesday high. That's some previous holds here. That's a hold here. Those are rejections yesterday, and that's a hold end of day yesterday. 476.50 is very clear. And if we go down to if we go down to this morning action, look what happened right here as we rejected that 476.50. We came under, we rejected it, and we continued lower under that 476.50. So right now you're pushing back into it, which is aligning with the NASDAQ right here, that Wednesday high, 19,590. Very clear holds now coming in at that 536 level. On the QQQ, that's around this 475.50. I'm probably going to leave that off my charts. I think I'd rather, like I said on the NASDAQ before, just sort of like this larger channel more, right? I don't know if I really want to trade off this little short-term level, but there is, right, once again, like I said on the NASDAQ, there is a level here. So it just depends on if you want to trade in that short-term channel. There is a level here on the Qs at 475.36, 475.40. If we zoom in, we can see that, right? There's definitely some previous highs here. There's definitely a hold right there, and you can see the hold that's coming in this morning. So there's definitely a level there. It's the same concept I was talking about on the NASDAQ. There's definitely a level at this 536. You can see it right here. You can see it right here. There's definitely a level there. Just depends on if you want to trade that short-term level, right? I sort of like looking at it. I'll put this back on, but I sort of like looking at it like this because these are sort of the larger opportunities. There's a larger low here, and there's a much more important high here. But you can keep that short-term level on your charts just as, make sure you know that there is possible holds in that zone that we have already seen this morning. So just depends on how you want to look at it. But I do like that, of course, 500, 535, and that 590. QQQ, you can see that 474.40, that 475.40, and then that 476.50. I think if you want to look confidently long today, a hold above this Wednesday low would be very interesting, right? If we do get back above this Wednesday low right here at that 476.50, that could be something that triggers this market higher today. So something to watch there as well. S&P 500. So the S&P has definitely been a little bit weaker than the NASDAQ. And actually, the S&P has now reclaimed over a very important level here. But let's go ahead and zoom out and first start on the S&P here. All right, so here's your ES over the last few trading days. And the move you just got lower in the pre-market has come very close to filling that CPI gap up. It's not quite there, right? You still have probably a little bit of juice to the downside, right? A little bit of room to the downside towards that 53.90. But right now you are seeing that ES really get bought up, right? As it approaches that CPI gap up, right? You got pretty close. You got about 5 or 6 points away from that gap fully sort of, that gap filling there. Let me go ahead and zoom in on the short term here. So you can see on this CPI move, this is your CPI move. The lows were right in this 53.90 area. That's where that CPI move really came in off that 53.90. And if we go here, we can see we got close, right? We got close. We didn't quite get all the way down to that 90, but we got close, and we got a very aggressive buying wick right back to the upside on the ES. So would you call that a gap fill? Tough. It's not full. It's not a full gap fill. It definitely tested some of the levels, right? It definitely tested some of that gap zone, right? It definitely tested some of that CPI zone right here. You can see that, and it did get bought back up. I think the key right now on the ES is going to be right here. This 54.16 level, I think, is going to be the key of the day. Now, why do I say that? Wednesday, right? Let's go back to Wednesday. We can see here on Wednesday, we have a very clear low that was formed right here. The low of this candle was 54.16. 54.16.25 is the exact low of that Wednesday move right there. 54.16.25. Now, if we go over, we can see right here, we had some very clear reactions at 54.16.25, right? You can see right there. And then you can see later in the day, we had a little bit of a little liquidity grab, I'd call it, or something, a little fake failed breakdown, a reclaim back above, right? And back above that 54.16. Carmine. I think Carmine actually took this long, or it might have been this long that Carmine took yesterday. I think Carmine took this long right here. It was a little, yeah, this was Carmine's long right here. So we had a little bit of a failed breakdown under the 54.16 yesterday. We popped back above reclaimed, and I'm pretty sure Carmine took this thing long for like 6 or 7 points. So that was a nice little trade by him, right? Because you have a little failed breakdown under a key demand. You reclaimed it, and you had a hold right there, right? And a nice little reason to long the market off that 54.16. I actually longed, I'm pretty sure I longed the same level yesterday on the SPY. We took that SPY 540.5 long. We did, actually. We took the SPY 540.5 long right here. I just didn't take profits, and I ended up having to take a loss. So I was looking for a little bit more on the upside. I was hoping that this would continue to hold throughout the day. Eventually, I did get dropped on. So could have done a little bit better to manage that trade. But a nice 54.16 hold yesterday, which was the same low, from Wednesday, right? You can see Wednesday's lows, yesterday's lows. We reclaimed it later day, and we had that end, right? This was really the move. This move right here was the move that I was looking for here, right? So looks like it needed a little bit more of a drop before we got that, move back to the highs. So I took the longs here hoping for sort of this type of move, and unfortunately that move ended up happening like an hour later, right? So is what it is. Right idea. Protected myself, took my loss, which was a comfortable loss, and that's sort of that's what you got to do, right? That's trading. That's going to happen. So 54.16, 54.16, 54.16, and you can see today what's going to happen there, right? That's going to be huge. This is going to be sort of your line in the sand, in my opinion. 54.16, right? 54.16 is that level that I would really closely be watching. Do we reclaim it and hold it? Do we get a little, do we fill this pre-market downside here today back towards that 43? Or do we reject this, right? And is this maybe your next short entry? This is going to be the very important level that I would be watching at 54.16 today, right? And you can see, look at the market sort of aggressively trying to reclaim this level right now, right? Right now in the short term, you are seeing the ES really attempt to maintain and reclaim this 54.16 level. So if we do that today, there could be some nice longs that set up off this level. All right, so let's make sure we're watching that very closely today. That's going to be big. On the SPY, actually, look at that. That's very clear at 540.5 on the SPY. Let's go ahead and zoom out. The one thing I will say, right, and we have to make sure we still sort of realize this, the SPY, again, is still sort of extended on that CPI pop, right? We're still above the gap, right? The gap definitely has not filled on the SPY. We came down a little bit, it looks like, to that 539 level. So we could put a little level there at 539. It's really not based off of anything besides, the hold in the pre-market. So it's not like I'm not gonna trust that. I'm not gonna long 539 today. Okay, we could be careful of 539 to make sure we know that, hey, this is where we held pre-market lows. So we could just sort of put PML there, right? Pre-market low. So we do know, okay, pre-market lows there. Let me make sure I know that. That's at 539. I'm not going to look to long 539 because it's not a established level to me. It's just a one day hold, a little pre-market hold. But I will make sure I note that, because if I am short here, then I need to know, okay, I'm short into pre-market lows. This could be a hold level that I need to be careful of. So you can note that 539 pre-market low. You are definitely still elevated past the gap fill on the SPY, which could be down to 537. I really want this pullback, I'll tell you the honest truth, to 535.50. But let's do that same analysis we did on the 54.16 on the ES, right? What is that on the SPY? That looks to me to be, you can call it, I would call it 540.40, right here. I'm actually going to turn that green because we're right above it right now. So 540.40, you can see right here is that Wednesday low. We saw yesterday that reclaim of that 540.40. I took this long yesterday. The way I trade is I take longs, I scale out, and I hold runners. So I did get stopped out on the runners there. But that's just, that's how I trade. So 540.40, you can see right there, we had a nice hold yesterday. We had a nice hold on Wednesday. We had a nice reclaim above that yesterday late day, which did cause the upside. Now today, take a look, right? We're trying to reclaim it. So we're sitting right above it right now. We need to hold this to see upside today. If we do not hold this, then I think this will sort of stay weak, right? If we do not hold above this Wednesday low, this yesterday low, this sort of major reclaim level, and we do not hold above that today, then you could see that weakness continue, probably back down towards that pre-market low, and maybe even down for that gap fill, all right? Now, if you do hold above it, and you do hold above that 540.40, this could be that reclaim and hold level that could help the SPY sort of fill this gap down from the pre-market, okay? So, big levels there on the SPY today. I think those are actually your major levels to watch. Both the ES and SPY levels look to be very important here. 540.4 on the SPY, and on the ES, it looks to be 54.16, which you're really just dancing around right now, right? You're not getting anything too clear as of yet. So you'd like to see this clear up. You'd really like to see this clear up. If it does really show a clear rejection today, then there's definitely short side opportunities. If you do get a clear hold above, then there is possible longs. But I think this is your level, right in here. This is definitely your inflection point to be watching on the day. All right. RTY, Russell. The Russell failed aggressively back under, actually in this pre-market, we have failed aggressively back under the 2035. It is not holding the 2035, which you really would have liked to see the Russell hold, right? This is, I think, a major level for the Russell. So the small caps still sort of on the weak side. That 2035 level, you would have liked to see this RTY 2035 hold strong. It did not. So don't really like where the Russell's at. I mean, I don't really trade small caps, so it's not that much of a watch for me. But if you do trade the small caps, I would say you are definitely on the weak side underneath this 2035 level, right? You really would have liked to see that hold, and it is not. Dow Jones continues to be weak, right? The Dow Jones has been a underperformer alongside those small caps as well. The Dow Jones rejected our 38,880. Right, we've been talking about that 38,880, and it definitely rejected it and continues to be weak here as well. So Dow underperformance is definitely something that's going on right now. You could watch these lows around 38.1, right? These lows around 37.8. I really don't trade Dow names. I'm really just focused on that NQES. But, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to trade off these NQES levels we talked about. But definitely some RTY and some Dow Jones weakness to be aware of over the last few weeks, over the last week. All right. Let me get a sip of water here. Maybe it's tequila. Maybe it's... You don't know. You never know what that is. Maybe it's just straight vodka. All right. Let's get into some stocks. So, Tesla. A decent day for Tesla after the pop, right? Because Tesla did hold some key levels. It also did fail some key levels. So it's still a little bit in the air for me here on Tesla, right? Still a little bit in the air for me on Tesla. Now, there is a key level that's holding right now, and that is very clearly 182, right? You can see right here, 182, 182, 182. So you can see rejections, rejections, rejections at 182 in the past. Now, where is the level that Tesla's holding right now after yesterday's drop and into this morning? Very clearly at 182, right? Right at 182. So if Tesla holds 182, hey, right, that's still a decent hold. That's still a very nice, sort of retest, little, come back down, fill some of that upside gap up, come back down to that 182, maintain these previous highs, and possibly the next sort of upside move, right? So not bad, right? 182 is holding pretty nice. Now, what level do I really need to see us hold above today? It's 186, okay? We need to get a clear and quality hold over 186, in my opinion. Right here, we can see 186 has been a major rejection point. 186, 186. So today, if we go to the short-term time frames, let's go to the 15-minute, you'd really like to see us hold above that 186. Yesterday, look at this. Let's go to the 5-minute from yesterday. Look at what happened at 186 on Tesla yesterday. We tried to hold it, right? We had a pullback and a long, right? You can see right there at 186. I actually traded this pullback long. Eventually it failed. I did take profits on Tesla though, so we made a little bit of money there. And you can see this 186 zone, right? Previous holds, rejections yesterday. What happens here? All right. What happens right here today? Is this another fail for another downside trade off 186? Or is this a reclaim of 186 for Tesla's next move after holding the 182? All right. Definitely both sides to watch there. Definitely an interesting trade. Definitely something I will be watching because I like how Tesla's coming off 182, right? I do like that coming off that nice demand, but I need to see it reclaim 186. I need to see a really solid hold here today to feel like it can continue higher. Pretty clear inability to get over like 191 yesterday, so let's make sure we have that 191 marked out. That looked really heavy yesterday. You can see that little failure there. So let's make sure we do have that on our charts, right? Maybe we just look for a scalp from 186 to 191, nothing more, right? Don't hope for much. Or maybe we just look for maybe this scalp here on the day if we do hold above that 186. But if we fail that 186, then you're coming back down to that 182, okay? Nvidia. So I thought Nvidia looked like it was starting to break a downtrend today, but man, has that thing said, no siree, I'm going back up. So I was sort of looking for this Nvidia down or uptrend to break, right? You can see Nvidia had this little uptrend, and hey, that thing tried, right? It looked a little bit, and nope, right back above. So a nice little failed breakdown there on Nvidia today, and it definitely is gaining some more strength. I still like the pullback opportunities on Nvidia, right? I really would like Nvidia to pull back. I think a lot of people would like Nvidia to pull back because it provides them an opportunity to get into this thing. Now I've seen it a lot on Twitter, on X, like, hey, can we just get something? Can we get a little bit of a pullback, please? Just so we can get some entry points. But Nvidia just doesn't want to do it. It just keeps getting bought up, and it does not want to give up. So, hey, we have to roll with the punches. If that's what it wants to do, we got to continue to look for it. 125 was a beautiful hold back on Wednesday. We're holding above the 127, which was our pullback long yesterday, which was absolutely perfect. We talked about the pullback long to 127 yesterday in the live stream, and that was exactly where we pulled back to and held. That's very nice. And this morning, we go into the 15-minute chart here, right? We can see we have that right here, previous. That's that Wednesday high that came into a perfect support yesterday. That's a beautiful little break and retest long, right? Right off that 127. And this morning, we are above now that 129.70, which is the very clear high from yesterday, right? You can see right here. We have a very clear high at this 129.70, right there, right? Previous high. Look at how we're holding above it. So if we hold above this, right, at 129.70, then I would say you absolutely could look for that long again. But of course, you do need to be careful up here around that 131.65. That's definitely looks like a pre-market high rejection point. So let's be careful up there. Let's be aware of that, right? If we do long today, maybe we target that high. Don't get too greedy on her, and just make sure we look for maybe a little long into that. Very possible. If we do fail back below that yesterday high, that's where I think you should get a little bit of pullback. But of course, Nvidia is one that doesn't like to pull back. So is there much merit in shorting Nvidia? There really isn't. Okay, I know it. At some point, there could be some juice to the downside. I totally agree with you guys if you're sort of bearish on it. If you're like, oh, Nvidia's too high. I do agree with you to some extent, right? I definitely agree with you to some extent. But you can't try to find something that's not there. And Nvidia's its personality right now is definitely not, aggressive short side, aggressive downside, and really clear short entries, right? It's definitely not that. So if you do get back under that 129.70 and you do really fail here today, then I think you could maybe look for that scalp short down into the 127 again. But if you maintain this today, guys, and you're starting to see that shit hold up, right, then I would not be looking to short it, right? This could absolutely hold and push back higher into that 131.67. Okay. AMD, man, do I want to long this thing, but man, is it just a piece of shit, to be quite honest, right? It's just such a piece POS, and it just doesn't move. I could definitely like make the case for a long on AMD. Semiconductors are strong. AMD's underperforming. It's at a major weekly chart level at 158, right? If we go to the weekly chart, right, this is a big level here. This is the weekly chart on AMD, and it's 158, right? 158 is this major previous weekly high that is trying its best to hold at 158. So it's like, hey, this could be such a sick long opportunity off 158. It's still holding. It continues to sort of fail the breakdowns, right? You can see right here, failed breakdown, and it's back at it today. So would I be surprised to see AMD pop off this level? No, I would not. But it is so just not exciting to be long AMD right now, because you just get stuck in these pops and fades, and you could just get stuck in the same pop and fade. And so I just don't want to get involved. As much as I want to get involved, I don't want to get involved. Yeah, I mean, SMCI was the same thing, man. And that's what I'm talking about. Guys, it's, I can't predict the future, okay? I spoke rude about SMCI, and it popped, okay? Yes, I understand that. But what was SMCI doing before the random pop-up, right? There's this same move is possible on AMD. That's why I said what I just said on AMD, is that there is the possible, right? There is a possible one of these days on AMD. But how would you have known that was going to come in on SMCI, right, before yesterday? It's just that random pop day. So this is the same thing as AMD. It's just a maintain, right, that you want to long because it's such a key level, but if you longed SMCI before yesterday, you sat through a whole lot of shit, right? You sat through the pop, the fade, the pop, the fade, the pop, the fade, right? And you had to sit through that for some time until you got that move, yesterday. It's the same possible thing here on AMD, right? It could be that sort of, maintain that eventually gets you that move, but it's going to be something you got to be really patient on. Maybe if it starts to wake up, right? SMCI definitely woke up yesterday, and we'll go over that now. And really, I mean, the key breakout point yesterday was 815, so that was clear. You can see right here that 815, and it did get above that previous high, that previous low. And after it got above that 815, it definitely rallied, right? After it got above that 815 right here, you can see it rejected around 10 o'clock, right? That 815 definitely rejected around 10 o'clock. And so this is sort of my mindset yesterday with the group. We were watching this thing, and we saw it start to reject 815. And I was like, I don't know, man, right? This could be another one of those sort of sucker moves that just fades again that we just don't want to be involved in. Yesterday it did get above. So if AMD starts getting above some of these levels, then sure, let's look for it. SMCI got above that 815, and that's really where that, that move started to happen. So nice there on SMCI yesterday. Very nice. And if you caught it, well done. For me on AMD, that level that I need to see pop and hold above is, I think, like right here around that 162, 163, sort of these last few day highs right here. So let me go ahead and go to the 15-minute chart. Right, you can see right here, we have a few, sort of highs around, it's like 162, I think is sort of that general high. You can see these highs here, this fade at 162 yesterday. So if AMD can do a little 162 like that, right, and hold above the Wednesday, Thursday highs, then yeah, you might get it, right? You might get it. And you might want to look for it. You might want to look for that juice if you can get above that Wednesday, Thursday high. That's sort of like what SMCI did, right? Over the channel high here, right? Over this, it did really start to get going. So you can look for it, right? You can look for it. Now, I'll finish covering SMCI here, then we'll move on. Here's the problem with SMCI, guys, for you guys that are, looking for a continuation today. Here's my only concern for you. 870 is no joke of a level. If we go to the daily chart, right, let's look at this daily chart. Let me clean this up for a second. 870 is a major previous daily chart low. So right here, you can see 870 and 870, 870, 870, 870. And after it failed back under 870, it had that downside. 870 is a big level for SMCI, okay? And so today we see, as right now, we can see that 870 failing. So I would be just a little bit cautious on SMCI. You can see yesterday, intraday, 870 caused that big rejection, which we did get back above. We needed to hold, in my opinion, over this 870, and we did not. So now I'm cautious of whether SMCI can continue because it's under that 870. So for me, if I'm going to look to long SMCI after yesterday's move, I'm going to want to see this. And I'll look to long on a hold over 870. That will be nice, but I don't really want to be long into 870 because that is definitely a rejection point. So either a more aggressive pullback to 815 for longs, right, or a hold over 870 for longs is what I would be looking for. I don't really like long in it, just sort of right in the center here. Okay? TSM. I think a nice little pullback here on TSM possibly forming. Maybe a little bit of a flag forming as well, right? If we can get this little flag pullback. I like this TSM. I don't like it right now, but I do like it maybe back down to this 169 and back to this 166.6. If we can get TSM on a little bit of a deeper pullback, back to this low here, back to this high here, and this high here, right around that 169, that would be something I definitely look for something along these lines here. All right, so 169 is definitely a TSM level I'm eyeing. You do need to remember that TSM is still on a gap up here, and the gap up would close at 166.66. Okay, so if we go to the daily chart, we can see TSM's definitely still on a gap up here on the daily chart, still gapped up. So you do need to be aware of that, but I do like that 169, and so if you do get down there, I would be watching. And then that 166.66 would be two pullback longs that I would definitely be eyeing on TSM. Okay. Qualcomm, very nice. We took this long off 213 yesterday, and that was a beauty. That was probably my best trade of the day yesterday. We took Qualcomm long off 213, and it just sort of it did what we wanted it to do. So I'm very happy about that. Why did I long 213? Well, you can see right here, 213, 213, 213, 213. We pulled right back down into it, held that 213, and came right back up. So guys, not always, right? It's not 100%. There's no such thing as 100% in trading, but these aggressive morning drops into demands need to be paid attention to, right? Because this sort of, I think this is, I don't trade. I think this is what you would call a fair value gap. I think, I think that's the ICT stuff, but I'm not too in tune with it. I do what I do, right? I have my own strategy. I don't really fall in love with what everyone's yelling and screaming about online. But, I think you would call that a fair value gap, that sort of just straight drop right there. These straight drops off the open into major demands should be paid attention to. It actually makes me more confident in a long than it does concern me for shorts, right? A straight down move off the open is not typically has very little merit if it's coming down into a major demand level, right? So we had a pretty much vertical drop off open for really no reason, besides just probably some profit taking or whatever you want to call it. But it was right into 213. So I said, hey, I just got a straight down move right into my demand, right? I think I could definitely look for that to long back up, at least come back up and make up some of that straight down move. And that was perfect, right? That was perfect. And that's exactly where we longed Qualcomm off of yesterday. So today I would look for the same thing, right? Can we get a long off 213? That would be nice. I'd love to see that. If we get below 213, maybe 211, right? Maybe 211. Very clear rejections up here, though, at 218 to be aware of. It's already 852. How the hell is it 852? What? Is that right? Whoa. All right. Damn. When did it become 852? Let's go to ARM. ARM, really major high up here, right? 164, guys. We talked about this is the all-time high on ARM, right? 164 on ARM is the all-time high, right? You can see right here, all-time high, 164. So I'd be careful longing ARM into 164. That's definitely clear, right? We're not going to just long into all-time highs. We can see the rejection of 164 very clearly. So let's be aware of that, 164 on ARM. Where would I really want to come back down into? I'd really want to long at 150, guys. That's really where I want. I need an ARM pullback, man. ARM's been on an absolute heater. And to me, I think there's definitely a pullback somewhere out here. So 150, 144, I want one of these before I even get interested. That's just my personal opinion. So 150, 144, those are the two pullback levels I'm looking for on ARM. MU, I want to pull back on MU to this 139, possibly even that 135. MU sort of on an island up here, has sort of, I think, gotten a little bit out of control. So I would look for this 139 on MU, and I would look for this 135 on MU. Yes, ARM did get added to the NASDAQ 100. That's why it gapped up this morning. Meta's back at our 499 level, right? Meta's back at our 499 level. So you could watch that today. 499, 499, 499. It's back at that 499. But here's the problem. Look at this right here. Look at that 505. So 505, 505, and 505. Little bit cautious into that 505, right? I don't love that. If you can get over 505 and hold, then great. But I'm definitely going to watch that 499 today. That's going to be some level that I'll watch on Meta. Let's go to Kava real quick because I just want to let you guys know I did exit my position on Kava. I took my profits. I just don't like how Kava is really failing this 93. This is a very heavy level on Kava. You can continue to see the fails coming in. So be careful at that 93 on Kava, guys. If you are still trading this one, you got to hold above 90. If you break under 90, I could see more downside coming in. If you get over 93, that would be my next long entry. Over 93 would be my next long entry on Kava. Let's go to Apple real quick because Apple's very interesting up here. Apple's definitely a top watch today because Apple has had some big moves and it did a nice consolidation yesterday. So Apple, we can see now, is very clearly consolidating within this zone. Very clear. Very nice consolidation for now. We need to hold above that 212. We have to hold above 212. So if we can see maybe some longs off 212, let's keep an eye on that. But we also can see a very clear rejection at 215. So Apple's in a 3-point channel that we definitely know will cause movement here after the breakout, right? If we can get a downside move under 212, I'd like that into 208. If we get an upside move over 215, I think you can trade that maybe back into the 220. So definitely watching, those two sides on Apple here today. I think the short is interesting because of how high and how extended this move was. So I would definitely look out for that 212 break for a move into 208. That's definitely something I'd watch. And I would absolutely be along at 208. If I start to see Apple curl off 208, I would absolutely be looking for longs right here at 208 at this previous level here. That would be very interesting. HIMS, long and strong HIMS, man. I have a lot of shares of HIMS. You guys know that. This thing's been very solid, holding up around that 23 level. You just got to watch out for the all-time high. We'll probably get a little fade off all-time high here at some point. All-time high on HIMS is... Why can't I see it? There it is. All-time high on HIMS is 2540. So just be aware of that. 2540 is all-time high on HIMS. So if you are in that one, keep an eye out on that. Coinbase, just know that we are still rejecting this major high, right? We can see Coinbase still really struggling around that 270, so please be careful up here, guys. That's a major supply up there. Let's go to Netflix. Ooh, Netflix with a little bit of juice this morning, huh? Yeah, Netflix flipped aggressively. It looked like it was rejecting that 658, but wow, has this flipped. So 658 on Netflix. Above that, you got 664.25, and that's about it, right? So, yeah, let's keep an eye on Netflix over 658 today. If Netflix can hold over that rejection, this rejection, and this rejection, and this rejection, that could be very interesting. News: Netflix seeks production partnership for Christmas NFL games. Okay. I mean, Netflix is Netflix, man. It's a prime time, long-term portfolio stock for me. It's a beast of a stock. You just got to be careful on the intraday trading. Netflix can be a pretty nasty intraday trader. It can really smack you up, but it can also make you a lot of money. As you guys know, I made $70,000 on Netflix, so it goes both ways. So big rejection there, 658. Let's look for that 658 hold. If you get a hold over 658 today, that could be something to watch. All right, guys, let's get a quick peek at the NASDAQ here before we head out. So I think the number one thing to pay attention to today, guys, is I would not get too aggressive short into this double bottom low. Okay, we held this yesterday, and we had an upside move. We came down into it today, and we're starting to see an upside move. Be careful at the 19.5. Be careful at the 19.5. If you do see downside today, be careful not to be too aggressive short into 19.5. That is a major level down there. Look to see if that 19.535 holds, and just be careful up into this 19.590. On the ES, we really need to see the 54.16 hold up, right? We really need to see the 54.16 level hold up. Look at what you're starting to see at 54.16. You are starting to see these rejections come in, right? A little bit cautious, right? And you might even be able to move this, if you want to, move it to 54.18, right? You can see right there, 54.18, pretty clear high there. 54.18, you can move it to 54.18 if you like. I would personally keep it at these lows. That's what I would personally do, because I want to know if it's above that low. The low right here is 54.16.25. So I'm going to keep it there, and just understand that that is a must-hold level here. But we can see right now, we are starting to see some rejections here. So be careful there. ES, I really need to see it above this to be confident on the upside today. If we stay below it, we could see that downside continuation. All right, that's all I got. I hope this helped you today. If you guys could, press that like button. That went by quick. That went by really quick today. Adobe, I said I would look at it. I'll do a quick peek. 100 SMA. 100 SMA on Adobe. Look for that 100 SMA to hold. It's holding right now. Right? Look at how this thing's holding above that 100. I would look for that today if you're watching Adobe. Watch that 100 SMA hold. Let's go out to the daily chart real quick. That's 530. Ooh, that's also okay. Hold on here. What's this high? 523.87. 523.87. 523.87 is that previous daily chart high. Oh, you see that? You see that? Right? That's interesting. Right? That's interesting. That's what you're watching right there. You see this on the daily chart? See right there? That's that high and that gap down, that high right here, 523.87. If you hold above this, that is a reason to look for more upside. And look at where that level is right now. That's funny how that works, right? Look at how that held right there. And look at how it's holding above it right now. So that would be my watch. If you hold above that daily chart gap level right here at 523.87, that's intriguing. All right, let's keep an eye on that. All right, guys, press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. Let's go to the intro because I want to listen to that song again. Peace out.
is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.